let's go back to those 1,000 near deaths. One was a county commissioner's proposal to add a loop through downtown St. Paul, a logistical nightmare. Minnesota Public Radio filed suit, saying the train's vibrations would interfere with its broadcast. The University of Minnesota, which had highly sensitive research labs near the route, filed a similar suit. And then there was Rondo. A coalition of citizens and businesses took the Met Council to court, claiming the rail line would harm nearby communities of color. The group also filed a complaint to the Federal Transit Administration, which was partially funding the light rail. Longtime residents like Nick were involved. So were transplants like Nikema Levy-Pounds, who grew up in South Central Los Angeles. Since 2003, she had taught at the University of St. Thomas School of Law in Minneapolis, where she started a civil rights legal clinic.
Folks often say that transit is a gateway to economic opportunity. Well, I would argue that it depends on which side of the tracks you live on. That will make a huge difference in terms of whether transit works on your behalf or against your community. I have been drawn to the Rondo community since 2006, when I sat down and had coffee with Nick Khalik, and I asked him to explain to me the challenges facing the African American community. Once I heard about the issues such as a lack of economic opportunity and challenges to political participation, I decided to get involved. I said, I want to start a civil rights legal clinic that begins to address these issues. Well, thankfully, that took me out of the ivory tower and right into the heart of the community, where I had a chance to work with numerous groups and civil rights organizations and community members that were focused on uplifting their community. Well, in the midst of all that, talk began about the Central Corridor being transformed through the light rail. And one aspect of the conversation that constantly comes back to me is people saying, listen, either we have a seat at the table or we'll be on the menu. Part of why that was important was because when the plans were released surrounding the light rail, it was evident that folks from Snelling all the way to Rice Street along University Avenue would not be able to access the train or get off the train within their own communities. Typically along the Central Corridor, stops were placed a half-mile apart. Well, from the area along Snelling to Rice, the stations were placed 1 mile apart. So that meant an area with a high concentration of people of color from lower incomes would have difficulty accessing the train. Beyond that, we were told that the bus stations would be, the bus services would be cut in half. So the people in the community decided to tap into that spirit of Rondo that Nick mentioned earlier and to mobilize. They came together across different racial groups, different socioeconomic groups, different issues that they were working on, and they formed the Stops For Us Coalition. The Stops For Us Coalition worked a strong ground game, mobilizing people, doing listening sessions, holding government leaders accountable, and ultimately filing a federal lawsuit to push for stops at Western, Hamlin, and Victoria. And thanks to their efforts, people can not only get on the train, but they can get off in their own community.